time now for the markets. And Leighton, you say it's almost time for the monthly supply-demand reports again.
That's right. Monday, March 10th is the day. In the meantime, we are following these stories for you in the markets. Wheat finds support in the Ukraine unrest. The spreading PED virus may limit hog expansion as boxed beef prices for both select and choice cuts move higher. More than 1/5 of our world's wheat sales come out of the Black Sea region. So needless to say, traders are watching the events in Ukraine very closely. Interrupted shipments of wheat from Ukraine could lead to increased demand for U.S. grain. Wheat futures have climbed to their highest level since early December. Turning to cotton, futures there are trading with modest gains Thursday morning, March 6th, as we produce this program. AgFacts.com says that weekly export sales data came in well above expectations Thursday and provided some price support. Prices do remain volatile as the demand situation in China remains uncertain. Doan's commentary reports that even though futures are poised to test previous highs, long-term fundamentals for cotton are said to be bearish. Let's move to our trivia quiz, and this week it concerns the declining number of folks working in U.S. production agriculture. Today, about 2% or less of the population is farming. Here's the question for you. How much of the U.S. population was involved in farming in 1950? That's 64 years ago. Is the answer 7% or 16% or 22% or 35%? I'll tell you here at the end of the markets. One big topic of discussion at this weekend's National Pork Industry Forum is the highly contagious porcine epidemic diarrhea virus, better known as PED. Trader Walt Hackney says the spreading virus that kills piglets could push hog futures higher while definitely limiting U.S. herd expansion.
They're not going to do much expanding in the hog operations until they get some kind of control on the treatment of this PED virus. And the opportunity for it, if it isn't controlled, is for it to take out of our total market hog herd 5% this year. Now that's enormous in terms of hog nomenclature. And it's a huge amount to come out of. That brings it from like 2.25, 2.10 million a week. That'll drop you down to around 1.7 million.
Tight supplies continue to be the story in the cattle sector as the month of March gets underway. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams answered some questions about one of the important monthly barometers of this livestock market. Brian, our latest cattle on feed numbers pertain to the month of January. Was there anything that really stood out to you as significant in that report?
Well, to run through the numbers, our number on feed was down about 2.8%, and our marketings were down about 5.5%, and those weren't too surprising. But where the big surprise is in our placements, and they were up about 8.6%, and that's compared to the expectation of 2.8%.
Now, I know you told me before we started recording you've been trying to see maybe what the basis of that was, and it's still not exactly clear, is it?
Well, there's a lot of things that could be playing into it. What we really think is the biggest factor is the markets. The prices were really spiking in January. Our boxed beef, our feeder cattle were all spiking in January. And so what it really looks like is that's what the markets were calling for, was more feeder cattle in the feedlots.
All right, well, I know when we talked about cattle about a month ago, there was a lot of commentary analysis out there that wholesale beef may have climaxed, reached its top. What have we seen in the last 4 or 5 weeks in that regard?
Well, we've seen them come back down a little bit, but over the last couple weeks they've been recovering. Right now, last week they were trading an average of $2.18 per hundredweight, which was up $7 a hundredweight for the week before, but they're still not anywhere near where they were in January.
And on the retail side, some pushback, any at all going on from the price picture?
Not particularly. The consumption isn't as high as we'd like, but there's a lot of other factors playing into that. There's the cold weather and the snowstorms that are keeping people out of the restaurants, keeping them out of the backyards grilling and those sorts of things. But price-wise, there's really not been a lot of pushback.
Now, briefly on the other side, feeder cattle market, what's been happening there in the last few weeks?
Well, they've been real strong as well, the feeder cattle have, and that's despite some of the cold weather and those sorts of things. And corn prices have also been coming up, but it looks like the supplies are really driving that market and helping to boost our feeder prices.
And last quick question, calf prices, how are they looking as we move through the year here?
Well, again, they're remaining strong. Another report had come out on our cattle numbers, and the numbers were down slightly, down 1% from a year ago. So the supplies are just real tight, and so that looks good for our calf prices going forward as well.
Before our feature story, let's check the trivia answer for this week. And the correct choice is B. In 1950, about 16% of the U.S. population was directly involved in farming.